Hey, are you thinking about grabbing an LG C2 for your gaming setup? There's a lot of hype around it for this year and last year, the C2 and the C1 before it. The C2 is still a great catch if you find an open box deal. C3 is decently priced right now. I've got a C2 myself, and I spent a good while figuring out things like the perfect distance from my screen, the brightness level, my comfort with the refresh rate, things like that. So I think I can help you make some decisions and cut out just like so much noise out there about getting an LG C2 or LG C3. So yeah, as far as distance from my face, I find that about 25 inches seems right. Any closer and I'm like bobbing my head like a bird from side to side during these FPS matches. Hard for me to recommend getting it closer. I kind of feel like you're going to be like looking back and forth when you're playing games, just because it's you know it's pretty big. I'm used to it now, but realistically it's pretty darn big. And also, like, look at 2024, and you have to kind of ask yourself, there's some exciting stuff coming out. There's going to be some like 32-inch 4K OLEDs. There's going to be some 32-inch 4K OLEDs. There's going to be some higher refresh rate monitors. I think the C2, though, is still going to hold up really well. So my quick tip is to avoid the anti-glare OLEDs. They just don't pop like the C2 does. Brightness and eye strain, I hear you. The C2 is bright enough even when you take HDR out of the equation, but the contrast is sort of killer on my eyes. Pupils dilate in and out. So my fix is bias lighting behind the monitor. I know some purists just freaking hate that idea, but it keeps my eyes comfy without messing with the monitor's colors, as long as you use like a proper bias light and you don't try to mimic what's on the screen. As far as the refresh rate, that's another one where it's sort of like, ask yourself what you're going to be doing with it. The 120 Hz is great for most games. I play some fast-paced FPS games on it, but I also have tried 240 Hz monitors. And once you've tried one of those, it's really hard to sort of go back to 120 Hz. If you're really serious about, being a hardcore competitive gamer, you're probably going to want to go for something that's 240 Hz or higher. Something next year will be coming out, or you can buy something now. I also have an Omen 27QS, I think it is, and it's 240 Hz. It's not OLED, but as far as competitive gaming, it's super nice, super low input lag, and really cheap. I mean, I didn't buy it for color accuracy or anything. I really bought it just to pump out the frames. So if you can pump out the 240 frames, fine. You can either get a cheap second monitor, because you really can't have too many monitors, right? Just keep adding, or you can wait till next year. And if you're worried about burn-in with OLEDs, this is something else I hear a lot. It's a thing, but I wouldn't stress it. I set aside cash for upgrades, kind of like the way you do with phones, or the way I used to do with phones. These days, they keep a phone for many years, but there was a period where, you're spending like $1,000 on a phone every year. I don't think that, I'm not planning on buying a new C2 next year. I've had mine for a while now, and there's no burn-in, but if you worry about it constantly, then like you can't enjoy it, right? So you either have to just, own that, or wait for some indefinite period of time until they figure out a way to, stop the burn-in. So should you get the C3? If you're keen on wanting to splurge now, and you don't want to wait for the newest tech that's going to be more expensive, then I think so, absolutely, right? It's a beast of a monitor. Just make sure you get someplace that has a good return policy so you can pop it on your desk and make sure it's not going to feel like overwhelming. If you got the budget and a graphics card that can pump out, high frame rates on 4K, maybe wait it out. Alienware might be dropping something cool, but again, stay away from anti-glare. And yeah, hopefully that's just the shortest, cleanest answers to some LG C2, LG C3 questions. If you have more, pop them in the comments below. I've used this thing, and I've also tried a ton of other monitors with it and right next to it. So I feel like I have some perspective where, some other folks who've tried other things but not tried the LG C2 may come in with a different POV. So yeah, would love it if you like and subscribe this, and yeah, there'll be more content out.